here. I'm very happy to welcome you here. I think it's also typical, not, I would say, that we arrange everything at the last moment, but at the end everything looks fine. We do it in an informal way, but it works. So I think that would be a very good description of Not in general. We're here in the ceremony, I would say, to really mark a very important step in the history of Not. As you all know, we are still at this very moment a Swedish foundation, the Stiftelse, to be precise. And due to the changes in the different countries, this will have to be changed to a new type of organization. And there was a lot of talk within the Nordic countries, and specifically there are two universities that showed a great interest to actually facilitate the continuation of Not, making sure that this telescope will be doing science and will be doing science for the Nordic countries. I think it's very important to note that we're not talking purely about, although we have the flags of Finland and Denmark here, we are not talking about purely those countries. We talk about whole Nordic astronomy, or for that matter, the whole of Europe. So we expand things. But I think that is an important point to make. NOTSA goes back a long time. Actually, in 1984 already the association was created. The telescope is already operational for actually this year 30 years, since 1989. So that is also a thing to mark, and we expect and we want to continue for at least another 10 years, if not more. So that is what has been the commitment from the universities and also the users in the different countries. I would like to say a bit about Not itself, the telescope. As I already said, we are rather informal, but things work. The telescope and operations will be handed over to the two universities. Of course, we are very happy that they are taking over this responsibility. I also would say that at the same time they get a great telescope and a great staff. And I think that is really very important to note. It is the fundamental part of Not, including everybody. I mean, from the students, I think it's a very important part of Not operations, of Not life, if you want, up to everybody that is involved and everybody taking their tasks. I can also say that for the last few months, if not years, I've been very much involved in all this process, which has also meant that I had I could not concentrate on other parts of my work. I'm effectively head of operations, head of administration and director. Especially as part of head of operations, I've not been able to spend so much time, and I can tell you that the staff, without me saying anything, has taken over a large fraction of all those things and making sure that things keep on working to the telescope, which we will now transfer to its new owners and will be, I'm sure, also a major asset to the universities and astronomers in all the Nordic countries and the world for that matter. So, a practical thing in the future, so this will be transferred. How does this work from a foundation to becoming part of the universities? We have agreed with the universities, or NOTSA has agreed with the universities to do this in effectively two parts. Two big parts and very important parts and fundamental parts. One being the telescope that will be transferred to the University of Turku in Finland, and the other side, fundamental, without the telescope we do nothing, but the other side you have operations, and without people operating it, maintaining it, etc., it also will not work. So that second part, operations, staff contracts, stuff like that, that will be transferred to the Department of Physics and Astronomy at the University of Aarhus. There is a transfer agreement signed already on the 1st of April, so we're now in the process of finishing this, and then after that, in principle, on the Spanish side, nothing fundamental will change. We will have the great telescope and great services we will provide you as before, but then we have the commitment and support from the universities. For this reason, we are not making Not smaller or changing it, we are expanding it. So as you might see, we have one logo, but we actually getting more logos. So that becomes a bigger thing. For this reason, we have two specific people coming here, which is Kalle-Antti Suominen from he was vice rector of research at the University of Turku, and Ulrike Ugeroy, who is the director of the department of the head of the director of physics and astronomy at the University of Aarhus. I would like them, so this is the practical side of things, to come up here and unveil ceremonially our expanding node to include them. And then I've asked first Kalle-Antti and then Ulrich to say a bit about their part in taking this over.